Today's episode is so special because I am bringing on one of my private clients to the show for the very first time. This is very much a story about what happens when you stop skimming the surface of your business and really get into the meat of it and figure out, where is the purpose here and how do I drive more profit in a strategic way? And you're going to hear from Nikki Corbett, who was a client of mine that originally came to me with a different podcast. She really didn't think of it as a business, and she knew just something was missing. Like it was working, but there was more. And so, as a private client, she also got access to the brand edit, and that is when everything shifted for her. So, she ended up rebranding, relaunching a new podcast, and building a business around that. That was very much rooted in her purpose. That podcast is called the Scarlet Edit, and it really focuses on the taboo corners of relationships. So, talking about divorces, affairs, situationships in a very open, judgment-free zone. She is really passionate about dismantling shame in relationships, especially the ones that are all over the place, but we don't like to talk about. So she has created that space on the internet, and it has been wildly successful. So we're going to talk about her journey through that, what it's like to bring these pieces of your past out and into the open, even when it's a little scary. And you're going to love her energy too. She shares so many powerful messages just in this episode alone. So with that, enjoy. Welcome to Confessions of a Spiritual Entrepreneur. I'm Samantha Fackler, your host, business mentor, brand strategist, and someone who believes that building a business is one of the most spiritual journeys you can take. I am here to help you grow your business through proven strategies and aligned practices, so ultimately you can make more money while being in a state of ease. If you're stuck on something in your business, a marketing question, a messy offer, or you just need someone to help you think clearly, then a deep dive coaching session is for you. It's a one-time 60-minute call where you and I get to the root of what is not working and map out exactly what you need to do next. This is your chance to get the perspective of someone outside of your business who can see the whole system a bit more clearly. So if you'd like to book one of those with me, there are just a few open this month, and the link is in the show notes. Welcome to today's episode. We have Nikki Corbett here of the Scarlet Edit. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. This is so fun.
You've been such an incredible client to have and have had such an impressive transformation journey over the last... How many months have we worked together? Wait now.
It's been like 9
months.
I think. Dang.
So a lot has happened in the last 9 months.
Literally.
Let's start with where you were before we began working together. So could you give people just a snapshot of, what was happening? What was your life looking like? Where were you stuck?
Yeah. So I had been doing my own thing for, I would say, about a year, because I left the corporate world at the end of Q3 of 2023. And I didn't realize how much stress I had been carrying until I was out of that environment. So then when 2024 started, it was layoff central. Every company was laying people off. It was people at all levels. So I was just kind of like, okay, I got to do something for myself, because trying to battle out finding a job in this environment sounds awful. So I had been doing my own thing for a little while. I had had a consulting gig or two. I had a podcast. It was called Round 2, and I had done it quite a bit at the end of 2022. 2023 didn't really do much. And then 2024, I was determined to bring it back. So I had started putting more effort and energy into that. What then ended up happening, which was a huge shock to me, is that my podcast started getting all of this interest. And I was like, how are people even finding me? I'm super confused, but also intrigued. I had started having a couple of entrepreneurs on my show. And so then all these different entrepreneurs were coming my way saying, I want to tell my story on your show. So you connected with me and you were like, I'd love to come on your show. So then we recorded my show. And I remember the day we recorded, because I was kind of struggling internally, where I had all of this internal chaos about what was I doing? How was I going to really put myself out into the world? Some things that I felt were blocking me. How am I going to figure all of this out? So when we wrapped up my show, I asked you, I was like, hey, what kind of clients do you work with? Now, I think it would be smart for me to share that I have had a indifferent feeling towards coaching for quite some time. And there's two reasons for that. One is because when I was like 22, my parents hired this gal to be my life coach. I didn't really like her. So I was always just kind of like, okay, whatever about coaching. Fast forward to 2024, 2025, there's coaches all over the place, right? Everybody's a coach. I do not even know what is going on with this industry. And you said to me, I remember this verbatim, you are exactly the type of client I want to work with. So I did some more research. I think we had an official discovery call so you could kind of talk to me about my goals and about your process. And then we went for it. And here we are 9 months later.
I know. And it's crazy to think about the changes since. I remember your intake form originally, and I actually looked at it again today to refresh.
Oh,
You want to grow, you want to monetize the podcast, but you want to just feel like everything's clicking. And I think for you at that time, what you're saying is that there were just a lot of things that weren't clicking together.
totally. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a perfect summarization of what I talked about. Yes, things were not clicking.
And then you joined private mentorship. So we started working together. And one of the early things we kind of stumbled upon was there's this bigger brand that's missing. Some would call it a niche, but when I say niche, it's almost like, what's the bigger story of what you're doing? And I remember you said this on an early call too. You were like, I had round two, and then I was interviewing a bunch of entrepreneurs, but I'm not really feeling it anymore. Could you kind of describe your early experience with how coaching kind of met you in that moment?
Yeah. I mean, I think that what a lot of, at least I know for me, what I didn't really understand the value in having a coach is that you can sit and you can talk to your parents, you can talk to your friends, you can vent or ask for advice or whatever. But when it's that type of relationship, ultimately, it's not going to be an ongoing conversation. You're not going to have someone holding you accountable for figuring out different things as you're sharing. Well, this is what's making me frustrated. It's okay. Well, why is it making you frustrated? What can you do to change these things? What do you think is the next step for you? So the immediate value that I found was, okay, yes, this makes sense because when we sit and have our calls, I'm like, oh, dude, she's totally locked in, listening to me. She's offering me advice. I don't feel any level of judgment or I'm trying to tell you what to do. And I think that saying those things, someone listening might be like, well, yeah, duh. But it's so important to make sure that you're not feeling that way as you're having these conversations with clients. So I think as everything was starting, because it was March, and then right away, I went to this retreat. And when I came out of that retreat, that's when I was like, hey, look, I have a really big piece of my life that I feel is standing in my way. And I want to figure out how I can use this for good and how I can use my experience to share with other women so they can get to the place that I'm at, which I think is a really great place. And then you were like, okay, well, I have this program called The Branded It and you're going to do it. And I was just like, oh, okay. I had no idea. I mean, I don't know if I wasn't completely listening or if I just didn't know. I don't know. But I just remember hanging up that call and being like, I wonder what this is going to be all about. And then I saw the calendar invites and I was like, oh, this is a lot over 4 weeks. So I was like, oh, okay. And then there was homework and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be working. But it was truly, that was the game changer.
It was a game changer. It was so cool for me because all of my private clients obviously get access to all my programs and resources, but not all of them take advantage of those because sometimes they don't need it. They're not in that place. But you came back from that retreat being like, hey, there's this big thing I want to, bring into my business because I really feel passionate about it. What I heard from you is there was purpose tied to this and we needed to figure out how to work around that with your business. And the brand edit was starting. And yeah, it was the perfect alignment because then obviously everything changed during those 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So could you describe kind of what happened within that?
Yeah. Like I said, I had no idea what it was going to entail. And then, and there was homework. So I would find myself kind of working through, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I being asked to explain? And, you know, there was 3 other women in it as well. And so I think it was during the second week, I definitely was feeling frustrated, and I was feeling like, okay, how am I going to get this figured out? Because each of them they were very clear. I am so-and-so, and this is what I do. I am Nikki. I have a podcast, and I think that I could use this story as something I could speak on at some sort of, you know, women's group or retreats or whatever, but I'm not really sure. I didn't feel like I had a business, and I felt like everyone else had a business. So I remember that day I turned off my camera for a moment because I was just like, okay, you need to like calm down. And then I came back on and we ended up having a really nice conversation. And then the call ended, and I think it was probably within an hour that I sent you a Slack, and I was like, what if I stopped the current podcast and started a new one, and this is the topic? And then it was like, that's when everything clicked, and it was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This you can build a brand around. This is you. This is how you can help people. This is how you can grow this. It was like the path, you know, in movies where it'll be like, boom, and then you see the path. That's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that because it was a breakthrough moment for you. It was a huge, massive breakthrough.
Yeah, it was so cool.
And then you were able to quickly build a brand around it with this small audience of women who understood you, who understood even your process with discovering this. And we went through everything, like vision and values, even the look and feel. Like you can see the Scarlet edit behind you right now. I remember we went through exercises and mood boards to even find those colors and vibes. And
totally.
It was
so
cool.
Fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
It was really fun to kind of create all of that as I was envisioning what it would mean when I started putting it all out into the world. So that was super exciting because then I felt like I built something that I was proud of. Like on the last day when we all did our presentations and shared with everybody our brand positioning deck, like that was really freaking cool because I was like, look at this. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is me. Mm-hmm. And it's all led to all of this.
Yeah. And can you tell listeners kind of what that story was and what the Scarlet Edit is about?
Yeah. One of the most significant relationships that I've had in my life, I was in a relationship with a man who was married. So I was technically the other woman. We were together for about 5 years. And that relationship like truly changed me in so many ways for the better. And it was at a period of my life where, you know, I was like a full grown adult, like, you know, in her 40s. I felt like it was getting in my way, not sharing that publicly. Now, I'm sure people are like, why? Like, it's your personal life. Like, why did you need to share that publicly? Well, here's why. It was a private relationship, but like my family knew, my friends knew, you know, that part of it wasn't secret. But what you don't think about sometimes when you end something that isn't mainstream or isn't status quo is that when it does end, it still is a part of you. And so as I continue in my own life and wanting to be in a relationship and wanting to have a partner, like it's gonna come up and I'm not ashamed of it. So it was this weird moment where I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to put this out there. And I want to help other women. I want other women to feel like they don't have to carry shame from past decisions that they've made in their lives. Just because you made a decision years ago, it doesn't mean that you would make it again. I would never enter into that type of relationship again. But I'm not ashamed of it. I don't regret it. And I think I'm really fucking great. So like, I want everybody to feel like me. I want everybody to feel like the life they want is theirs for the taking. I want everybody to feel like they are deserving of love and that they can go out and live their dreams regardless of any past decisions. So that's what the Scarlet Edit podcast is all about. It's talking about all of those different types of relationships and situations that we can end up in that aren't all Instagram pretty and rosy and butterflies and rainbows, but that are happening and that are happening every day and that are happening for millions of women. And being able to say, like, hey, look, you can get on the other side of this. And there are so many people that will support you and that you still deserve everything that it is that you want. So I kicked off the Scarlet Edit sharing my story because I thought, well, if I want to build a community and if I want an audience that trusts me, like I can't just be like, oh yeah, I was married and it just ended because we weren't the right fit. Okay, that's boring. I mean, the divorce rate's over 50%. Like plenty of people split up just because they weren't a right fit. So that's not super juicy. But by telling that story and owning that story, it makes it so it's okay, well, I've clearly got nothing to hide. So let's talk about all these other things too.
Completely. And I think you can hear the passion in your voice. And it's been so cool to watch kind of your growth since and also the responses that you've received because you've received so many messages from people saying,
Yeah.
hey, thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, that's been the probably most unexpected but coolest part is how many messages I receive on a weekly basis when new episodes come out. And, despite the fact that all these topics, they're not unheard of. Everybody knows about affairs. Everybody knows about divorces. Everybody knows about different types of abuse. Everybody knows about shame. But when I get a note that says, hey, I listened to this week's episode and oh my God, I don't feel alone anymore. Or wow, I feel seen. Or when someone sends me a quote of something that I happen to say during an episode, I'm like, whoa, like that's everything. And that's why I'm doing this.
This was the purpose that you were kind of searching for with round two, that you couldn't quite put your finger on. And then it all started to come
Exactly.
together. So could you tell us what happened like the first month that the Scarlet Edit came out?
Oh my God. Aside from like in retrospect, like having, even though I'd been podcasting for almost 2 years, still feeling like I had no idea what I was doing and trying to figure out social media content and how I was going to be sharing it. And then also like sharing it, knowing that I was, I'm from a small town. So knowing that the gossip mill was running rampant. I mean, thankfully it wasn't coming my way, even though I knew it was happening. It was still like, okay, well, here we go. But yeah, I mean, I would say the first month was it was exciting. It was freeing, which was the most unexpected feeling. But I think that that's also a good sign that you're doing what you're meant to be doing when you do have that free feeling. So that was incredibly welcome. And I'm very grateful for that. Sam, you interviewed me for the first episode. I mean, we did it all in one take, but then we cut it into three, which turned out fantastic. And then the fourth show, I did a solo episode just on my own. But yeah, I mean, it was a great month. Just seeing that it was well received and watching the numbers kind of trickle in and going, oh, wow, like people are listening to this. So that was exciting too. From a back end analytics perspective, it's always like neat when you see, oh, okay, like this is working. Like people are curious.
Mhm. And from a metrics perspective, wasn't this your highest month ever
Oh
for
yeah, the
podcast?
first month was the highest month ever, which was crazy because I was like, "Oh, okay, this is insane." To realize that how long it would have taken on my old show to get to that many downloads in a month. Uh, I mean, it was just like mind blowing. So I was like, okay, this is obviously a popular like relationship discussions. It's like a more popular niche in podcasting. And then when you throw in the topics that I'm talking about, I mean, I will say my first 3 episodes, they're still my most downloaded of all time. I mean, granted, they're also the first ones, but I mean, those shows get downloaded every single day. So that's just insane to me that, that it's somehow finding people every day and people are going to that episode and listening, or those episodes and listening. But I'm grateful because then it just brings more people into my Scarlet Edit sphere.
Yeah, and I need to paint more of the picture for listeners because this was so impressive. Like your show got around 1,000 downloads in 30 days. And yet you had just stood up all new social channels. Like, it's not like you had a
Yeah.
massive audience. You were kind of
No.
starting from scratch in a lot of ways. And this popped off. And then you've been able to hold that consistently every single month.
Yeah. I've had increases in everything month over month. So that's been wild because you just never know. I mean, you you just never know. I mean, there's like sometimes like I'll post a TikTok or a reel and it goes crazy and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And then other times I'll post something that I think is amazing and I'm like, "Oh, it got 183 views. Nice. Okay." So you just never know. So watching it grow has been really cool. And yeah, starting the new channels was also strategic because I wanted from the start for the algorithm to know like this is what this show is about, both on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram. I wanted it to just like be very clear that like this is what this is about. And I think that it's paid off. I think that it's been smart to do it that way because it's just been the consistency. I think consistency is number one over anything.
Yeah, agreed. And I think what's cool too is that as all of this was unfolding, we were actively working on your thought leadership pillars, like your personal brand, tying everything together, mapping out the future too of like how
Yeah.
you would be monetizing all of this as you grew your audience and podcast. And I know there was one breakthrough moment for you kind of around this in one of our coaching sessions, maybe a couple months ago. Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. So I am building a community. I felt it was important to put the community behind a paywall instead of just making a Facebook group. And the reason I did that is because of the nature of the topics that are discussed on my show. You know, with like a public Facebook group, people can make Facebook profiles that are fake. People can, just anybody can join. And I really wanted to have a safe space where women can come in and join, where they can create a username that's whatever they want. But on the back end, it's like I still can see that it's like Nikki Corbett that like put her credit card in. So what the learning from creating a community is that it's really hard and it takes a ton of work. And so it's definitely been something that I have continually talked about on the show, but I have gone up and down with my time allocated to put in work there. So now, and the conversation that you're referencing was like we were talking about, okay, like what are these like content pillars that are, or not even content pillars, more like strategy pillars. Like what are the three main reasons that somebody would want to join this community? Like what is going to be getting people to come in, to hang out, to connect with other women, to have conversations, to participate, and to feel like it's worth a few bucks a month to be a part of the community. So that was a really great moment because then it got me thinking differently. We created a few of those like pillars. So I feel like I have those three things to really run with and work with as I'm now have the time and effort and energy to dedicate to that community and to really growing it. So that was really pivotal. I mean, I remember we were talking and I was like, am I going to get a transcript of this? I can't take notes fast enough.
Yeah, no. And you're such a quick implementer. I feel like throughout coaching, whenever we land on something, it's like the next day it's implemented or the next week. And I think that is an important part of coaching too, because it's like we can discover these little gold mine moments, but you're someone who really brings that into action. And you can see that in your business just with how fast you're going too. You can just see the iteration.
Oh, well, thanks. That's such an important thing that I think people need to understand when you do decide to hire a coach. It's just like they're not going to do it for you. I mean, they can hold you accountable. They can help you create ideas. They can help you map things out, strategize, all of that. But ultimately, it comes down to you. And so I think that that's like one of the craziest parts about content creation, about entrepreneurship, especially when you're just a one man or one woman show. It's like nobody's going to do it for you. So I'm more at a point where, if somebody was paying very close attention to my episodes and my content, like they would see little tweaks every single week. Every single week, there's something new I'm trying, whether it's like just a different different type of intro, or like how long the music is. It 1 second? Is it 2 seconds? Like, is there music behind an ad? All these different things. But then, and even the content that I'm putting on social media, it's like that has changed so much. And so, yeah, it's like, I think having a coach is also opening yourself up to receiving input, and then not being defensive and not being like acting, oh, well, I already know everything. I don't know anything. I'm like, give me all the ideas and let me see what works. Let me see what doesn't. Let me see what resonates. Let me see what doesn't. Yeah. But I mean, I think because I'm so passionate about this, it makes it easy to want to implement things, because I'm like, well, this is super exciting and like it could totally pay off in the long run. So like, why not give it a whirl?
Right. And I think too, something to add is, as a coach, well, at least in my style, I believe like you are the CEO. Like you are ultimately the decision maker. So we're going to strategize. We're going to see like what new doors we can open mentally and energetically, and then see, okay,
Yeah.
what resonates, like you were saying. And then you get to say, okay, this feels right, and I'm going to run with this. And then we see the results. So it's such a beautiful partnership, I think, when it works that way.
Mm-hmm. No, it totally is. It totally is. I mean, I think that too, there's so much value to finding the right coach. I mean, again, like kind of what I touched on earlier, there's coaches all over the place right now. And I mean, I think that there has been like a shift in the tides where, people who got in it just because they were like, oh, I can do this and I can make money, have been more weeded out. And the people that are really in it for the right reasons have had that longevity, and they've created a client base, and they're able to build things, and people are like, oh, I'm really finding value here. But I think that, finding the right person for you, it's insane what can happen. I mean, I'm a walking billboard for that. I mean, finding you was game changing. I don't want to know where I would be had I not made this decision, because I know I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's really kind of you to share. And I am so happy we met too. I mean, on my side also, you were always a dream client. Like I wanted to work with someone who was really energized, who believed in themselves, and also who had something in the relationships realm, because I find that to be so interesting. I love relationship podcasts. So when you stumbled upon the Scarlet Edit, it kind of clicked in my brain. I was like, she's the client that I've been manifesting.
Oh, I love it. That's so fun. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. If somebody would have told me, I was thinking about this morning, if somebody would have said when that relationship started that, hey, this is happening, so you can be pioneering in this space, talking about these different types of relationships in, 8 years from now, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, what?
But I think that really does speak to, so many people before they enter coaching, or who might be resisting coaching because they just don't know what is involved. They think it's someone
Yeah.
just giving you a list of ideas, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, it's a ton of work. But I guess I don't know. I think that that's the tough part, is that there's so much work involved in anything worth doing. And, with social media, it's like we see all of these people, and everybody's like putting out great content and oh, I'm doing this and it's this and it's that. I mean, and it's awesome to see, and I love it. But it's so easy to look at somebody and be like, oh my God, it came so easy for them. Or, oh my God, like they're an influencer and they're making all this money. And it's okay, but remember when they weren't? Remember when you had no idea who that person was? Do you know how long it took somebody to make a video that looks like that? Do you remember where they started? Scroll back, babe. I mean, that's what's nuts.
Yeah, it's sometimes easy to get down on yourself.
So it's like with hiring a coach, it's like you're still going to be working really hard. And you're doing it. I mean, I think if somebody's out there and they want to hire a coach, you're doing it because you want better for yourself. You want a different life, whether that is advancing in your corporate career, getting from one level to the next, whether it's starting your own business and figuring out like, how am I going to best put this out into the world from somebody who's already done it, whether it's like a specific type of support that you need for your business, you're wanting better, you're wanting something more, but that's not going to come without a lot of work on your end to make it happen once you have that, that guidance and that accountability and, somebody to just help you look at things maybe from just a slight perspective shift. I mean, sometimes it's like just an inch where I'm here, but maybe I should be here.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe my microphone should be in front of my mouth instead of
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Maybe my microphone shouldn't be facing the wall before we hit record.
So I think those are all such important points. And I think, yeah, for anyone listening who's kind of on the fence with coaching, maybe they're like, something doesn't feel right in my business, but I don't know what to do. What would you tell them about working with a mentor?
I mean, I would say do some research, find somebody that you feel is in alignment with you. And it doesn't have to mean that they've done exactly what you've done. I mean, your background is in marketing. Now I feel like I'm doing marketing, but if you would have asked me a year ago, oh, would you hire someone with marketing expertise? I'd be like, why? But for me, it was more about like energy and feeling like, oh, okay, like I think she gets me. And that's super important, is somebody who understands like you, the way you work, your vision, what it is that you want, and then putting that faith and that trust in them. Like you're spending money, like and money is energy too. It's like a energetic monetary exchange of energy, but it's so awesome. I've sent Sam voice notes being like, I'm so glad I have you. Sometimes that's really all you need. Sometimes you need to be able to send your coach a voice note and just be like, here's what's going on today, and here's how I'm feeling, and this is great, and I'm so glad that I can tell you this because it's going to benefit our next one-on-one. Because you're going to take that and you're going to say, here's what I heard from all these different voice notes, and here's what I'm thinking as we're having these discussions about your business. That is really cool.
Yeah, and I think it goes so much farther than voice dumping into ChatGPT and then getting like a robo list of things that can't take everything into account. Like that, I think is really where it's helpful to have a coach because they can see everything that you can't see. And I love that you brought up energy because I think this is really important. One thing that I've been continually impressed by you and with our coaching partnership is that your energy has stayed high. Like you have been able to read the room energetically, and you've had so many changes since we started working together. I mean, you lived in Greece for 6 weeks. You decided to put down roots from your digital nomad era. You rebranded you completely basically restarted your business, and you stayed energized the entire time.
Yeah, thanks. You said that the other day, and that's really stuck with me because I'm just like, yeah, I mean, and the podcast data is the podcast data. Like it tells a story. A lot of people don't make it past episode 5. A lot of people don't make it past episode 10. You make it to episode 100, you're in the top 6% of people that have podcasts. Now I'm not at 100 episodes with this podcast, but podcasting holistically, I'm over 100 now. So I am glad that I have this energy for it and this strategy. And even as I've been spending time over the weekend thinking about what's my strategy for 2026 and like, how am I going to implement all these different ideas and thinking, okay, like I'm putting together my content calendar and like writing out next December's dates. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's crazy, but it's so exciting because I'm like, 1 year from now has been my mantra for the last few years. And what that means is that like every day when I'm thinking about what it is that I'm doing, I think if I do this now, where am I going to be 1 year from now? And like with everything that I'm doing now, 1 year from now, it's going to be crazy.
It is going to be crazy. But it points to that, like, what are the small, sometimes scary shifts that you can make today that are going to set you on a completely new course from a year from now?
Totally.
It's wild what can happen. Yeah.
It's insane. And another mantra that I've recently adopted is do it now. Yep. And that's like literally everything. If you have 2 dishes in the sink, put them in the dishwasher now. If you have a load of laundry you need to do, even if it's just towels and you're not like, oh, I desperately need a clean towel, do it now. Like just the do it now mindset has changed my life as of late.
And I always see that as a sign that someone is up leveling, because if you're in that mode, it means like you're running with what's present and there's momentum, there's traction. And so you're like,
Yeah.
I need to keep the plate spinning. So I need to do it now.
Yeah.
So I love that. One other mantra, I wasn't sure how we were going to work it into today's episode, but I wanted to share with the audience that you
Yeah.
came up with during our time together was that the algorithm loves me.
Oh yeah.
I am obsessed with that one still.
Yeah. No, you have to tell it. You have to tell it that it loves you. I mean, some days I'm like, you're not loving me enough. but but yeah, no, you have to just tell yourself all of these things so you believe it and then you start acting like it.
Yeah.
Like I am so excited for the content that I have on the horizon because I'm like, no, the algorithm loves me and it's going to just be like, oh my God, I love showing this to everybody because it's so good.
Okay. Yeah. And I know one of your ultimate goals is to get on Dear Media in their network.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're actively talking about different strategies to make your way there.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. So today is day 55. So I put together this challenge for myself where I was like, I'm going to post every single day in Q4. And my like hook is going to be, you know, I'm a 47-year-old podcast host determined to get Dear Media to notice me and get settled in Arizona. I used to add on that I also was going to be attempting a dating life. All that did was bring weirdos into my TikTok inbox. So I cut that. And also because I'm not putting any effort, energy, or even thought into dating. So I was just like, you know what, let's just leave that one. But to be posting a video every single day, it's been a very cool challenge. For some reason, I've been posting the videos at night and also making them at night, which I don't know that I love that habit because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, it's 11 o'clock and I have to film a video. Some days I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Because I don't want it to just be like plugging the podcast every single day. I want people to get to know me too. So it's been very fun. So I'm already thinking of what kind of challenge can I do next when this one is over. But, you know, getting Dear Media's attention has been the number one goal. And sometimes I'm like, is this video going to make them care? But then I'm like, no, because I want them to, they're not, people don't like invest in, like yes, I think that my podcast is perfect for their network. Don't get me wrong, but they're investing in me if they were to bring me on the network. You know, they're saying like, hey, we like you and what you're doing. So I want them to get to know me. So yesterday I like made a martini and hopefully if they saw it, somebody was like, that looked like a damn good martini. Cause it was, you know, that's what I hope.
Yes. And I think there's a level of authenticity with what you're building and what you're bringing to the world too. If you're listening to this, like you can hear the authenticity in your voice. And I think when we can bring that through the business and the brand, it does feel effortless when you do have to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to, you know, one of the things that this podcast has done for me is it has brought to the surface so many different memories of different times in my life. And one thing that I was thinking about over the weekend was dreams and how, you know, when you're a kid, like maybe you're like, I want to be an astronaut, or, you know, you have these dreams that you just kind of say and you say them so unabashedly because you're a kid and it's like, it doesn't matter, you know, and then you get older and you start feeling all these types of ways as people are learning about you and judging you or making fun of you, or, you know, you start worrying about like, well, how are people going to perceive me? But then you get on the other side of that again. And then you're like, well, I don't really care what other people think about me right now because I love the life that I'm living and what I'm building for myself. So I started thinking more about some of these dreams that I had. And I remember when I was younger, this was probably over 20 years ago. Oh, certainly over 20 years ago. I remember saying that I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to be interviewed on Oprah. And I remember thinking that multiple times. And now, you know, and back then that was like when Oprah was like the number one talk show host. You know, she had everybody on her show. She's giving things away. She's doing all the stuff. And then when she retired, I remember thinking like, oh, well, I'm not gonna be able to be on her show. But then it's like, but I was so out of alignment because it's like I wasn't doing anything that would warrant her wanting me on on her show at that time. But now that we're in this space where like podcasts are everywhere, there's so many great hosts. I mean, and there still is obviously like daytime TV and nighttime TV and whatnot. But now I actually feel like a crazy dream like that is tangible. I feel if I was to say, I want to be on Joe Rogan, one day I'll be on Joe Rogan and he and I will sit and, and shoot the shit for a couple of hours like he does with his guests. And it'll be fun and it'll be funny. And I will be like, oh my God, I had this conversation a couple of years ago and I said I was going to be on your show and look, I'm here now. So I think that dreaming is so important, but then also envisioning yourself actually being there, regardless of the level of delusion, regardless of if right now that seems like the most outlandish thing, like, why not?
Yeah. And I mean, the people on those shows or the people that are doing what you're dreaming of, like they started where you are right now. They weren't born there. There's a whole journey. Yeah.
No, I remind people and myself of that all the time, that all of these household names, at one time, they were just a person with a great idea.
Exactly.
And they were a person who was willing to work for it.
Yep.
So I remind myself of that all the time. Like any big influencer, any big podcaster, any actor, any athlete, at one time, they were just a person with a dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's such a beautiful message. And I think also like you can't do all of it alone. Like at some point you're going to need help in certain areas and you're going to have to be willing to be like, okay, I'm investing in this or I'm open to hearing someone's opinion on this because you just can't do it alone. And the more documentaries I watch, like I just watched Victoria Beckham's and it's like she had kind of a counterpart that helped her stand up her fashion business, her makeup business. It's like sometimes you do need someone and it's okay to admit that.
Oh my gosh, 1000%. There is so nothing wrong with asking for help. And if you talk to anybody, I mean, anybody that is making 7 figures, high 7 figures, 8 figures, every single one of them, they probably have more than one coach. They probably have a coach for financial. They probably have a coach for family. Maybe they're very spiritual. They have a pastor that's like their pastor. I mean, everybody has people that they lean on and employ or collaborate with in order to continually up level, because sometimes you're not going to think of all the best ideas by yourself and you're not going to figure out all of your problems by yourself. So it's super important. I couldn't be happier that I made this decision. And I think that, like I told you when you asked me to be on the show, I was like, hell yeah, like I'm a freaking biggest billboard for finding the right person and for finding you and your coaching style and your just way of putting together like the package that made the most sense for me, for us to really accomplish a lot together. I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Oh,
thanks.
I wish I could give you a hug.
Oh, I know.
I know. I think just to wrap up here, is there anything else that you would want to share on your transformation, on our coaching work together? Just any last thoughts?
I mean, I think the only, like the thing that I would just leave people with is just go for it. Bet on yourself. And even if you think it's crazy, even if other people think it's crazy, even if people don't understand, I mean, my parents have been married for over 50 years. And yes, they've known about all of my relationships. They've met everybody that's been a part of my life. But, when I decided to put this out there, like my dad's been married for 50 years. You think he's going to understand like what it's like to be in any of these relationships that I've been in? No. But does he listen to every single episode and come to me with his thoughts? Absolutely. Has he learned some great things from the show? Totally. I mean, sometimes he'll text me fascinating and I'm just like, I love it, So I think just if you believe in something and you're passionate about it, go for it and find somebody. And you don't need to have somebody right from the jump, but maybe you do. Or maybe you need somebody when you're a few months in, or maybe you need somebody when you're a couple of years in. But don't be afraid to ask for help, but do your research to find the right person that aligns with you and your energy and your goals. And you can go really far. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing ever.
Yeah. And you're living proof. So where can people find you, Nikki?
Ooh, well, come listen to my podcast. You can find everything at thescarletedit.com. I'll keep it very simple.
Amazing. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful for your time and just so grateful that we've had this partnership together.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. It was great to be here.
I hope today's episode gave you a glimpse into what is possible for you and your business. Nikki's story is such a beautiful example of what is possible when we own our voice, refine the way that we're telling our story, and ultimately build our business from the inside out. So, if you felt a little nudge during today's episode and you're thinking, I feel like I could be building something bigger, but I don't know how to build it quite yet, then that is the work that we do inside Private Mentorship. It's where we really dive into how do you shift your identity as a business owner while also growing your business. And like Nikki, you also get access to the brand edit as well as all of my programs and resources. If you want to explore what that could look like for you, the link to private mentorship is in the show notes. You can apply, we can have a little chat and see if it's the right fit. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Nikki, for sharing so openly. I will catch you all next week.